What? I haven't yet reviewed Wuthering Heights. I just finished reading this the ninth time, and it's 4:30 in the morning, but I'm going to review it right away because the thoughts are still so fresh in my mind. So I started this earlier this evening and I just finished reading it. Well, the best part is it's a little over 200 pages, so I always manage finishing it in one sitting. I am so excited to be talking about it, well, because this is one of the best books of all times, and if you've not read it, I don't know what to say. First of all, tell me, how have you guys been? What are you guys up to? What are you reading? On another note, I broke my other pair of glasses the other day, so I have a new one. How does it look? Before we begin with Wuthering Heights, you know the drill. You have to hit on the subscribe button and you have to hit on the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Right now, let's get talking about Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte was written when she was only 18 years old. This is considered to be the epic classic of all time. I am yet to meet somebody who is a lover of literature and hasn't read Wuthering Heights. There is something in this book for everybody, whether you like it, whether you hate it, you cannot be without reading it. As to why this is my favorite, I will first tell you what this story is about. This is the story of Heathcliff, it's the story of Catherine Earnshaw, and it's how their obsessive, possessive love makes and breaks the lives of those around them. For all those people who've asked me in the past, what do I think about this book? Do I think this is a love story? Hell yes, this is a love story, and yes, I've said it. And for all those people who doubt it, I wonder why. Is it just the perfect happy ending kind of stories, a love story? Those stories which do not fall in the regular pattern, that do not fit the mold, aren't they love stories? This book begins with Mr. Earnshaw, who was Hindley and Catherine's father, who brings home an orphan. This orphan is none other than Heathcliff. Now, Heathcliff starts to grow up in his household, so he's got Hindley and Catherine around him all the time. Hindley, who is Mr. Earnshaw's only son, is kind of insecure now because Heathcliff ends up hogging on all the attention and affection of Mr. Earnshaw. So Hindley starts to mistreat Heathcliff from a very young age. This has a lifelong impact and it transforms Heathcliff. That is something that stays with him the whole of his life. Catherine is a young, spirited, mischievous, carefree little girl, while Hindley is being abusive and worse with Heathcliff. His obvious resort is Catherine. This is gothic romance we are talking about. It's got all the elements of a superbly built gothic story, but at the same time, this is not your usual love story. First things first, what I really want to talk about is this story, a story of Wuthering Heights of Thrushcross Grange, both of which are owned by Heathcliff. This is where the whole of the plot revolves. While Thrushcross Grange is something which is a more refined kind of place of living, Wuthering Heights, on the contrary, is a wild establishment, as wild as the natures of these characters. It has an air of gothic mystery, of a gothic appeal, and that's what makes it all the more interesting, engaging. Wuthering Heights is the main setting of this novel, where we have these kids growing up. Heathcliff has had a troubled childhood. All through the book, this is a prominent theme, which is Heathcliff trying to find his identity, trying to find where he belongs, and trying to establish himself within the Earnshaw household. At the same time, he is madly, deeply, passionately in love with Catherine, a love that changes him for life. Eventually, Catherine ends up marrying Edgar Linton, and this is something that Heathcliff cannot accept. So he leaves Wuthering Heights and he goes off to the city. Years later, when he returns, Catherine is on her deathbed, and that again transforms him. It is the most heartbreaking twist or scene in the novel. So yes, that makes Heathcliff one of the most complex characters of all time. I would love to say that he is as flawed as a character, as a person can be, and that's what makes him relatable. I am a kind of person who does not so much believe in fairy tale love stories. I like these broken, twisted, flawed, complex stories that are more close to what reality is, what life is to most of us. It makes a lot more sense to me because they force you to see the true side, the real side of a person. It helps you to see how complex the person can be and from where that complexity stems. In this case, having a dysfunctional childhood is something that has shaped Heathcliff. Catherine's nature, her betrayal, is something that has turned him into a cruel person. And all through those transformations, when you learn who Heathcliff is, you don't feel hatred for him. If you look closely at Heathcliff, all you are left with is pity, is sympathy. Now here is the impact of this unsuccessful, unrequited and obsessive love tale that generations after generations of this family, of the Linton and the Earnshaw family, have been trapped in this hatred, have been trapped in this revenge, and all of them are suffering. Now that is something that is quite real because the impact of what a person goes through trickles down to the members of his family, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes we just don't know what we are doing, and no matter what our reason is, it does change the lives of those around us. So that's about Heathcliff and Catherine. The rest of the characters in the story, whether that's Lockwood, the tenant, who comes to rent out Thrushcross Grange, and we have Nellie Dean, who was the caretaker of the Wuthering family, and we have Joseph, who is another caretaker. So all of these people are basically just pawns in letting you know the story of these main characters from different angles, from different perspectives. I think that was absolutely brilliant because certain scenes from the story, if that had to be narrated from either Heathcliff or Catherine's perspective, they wouldn't have made so much sense. I mean, to be even able to think about that at the tender age of 18, man, that woman was a genius. The language is something that I really want to talk about now. This book is difficult, yes, in terms of the language. It was written in a time when colloquial English was more in use, and that's what our dear Emily Bronte has done as well. She has written in a language which is very peculiar of that era. I think that is something that makes this book so different in its genre and so different, compared to the other books in that time. Somebody told me I cannot read one damn page without opening the dictionary, and I feel you. I do. I read it for the first time when I was 17, 18 year old myself. I didn't get a word of it. Even though the language is different, what I suggest and request readers usually is that you read a stanza, a paragraph in a time. At one point of time, read only bits of it. If need be, sit with a dictionary. There's no shame in opening up a dictionary and just looking up the words. I do that still. This book, no matter how hard you find the language or how difficult you find the vocabulary, it helps you build your vocabulary. What you need to really understand is this book is not to be given up so easily. It's supposed to be chased, it's supposed to be pursued. Don't be scared of it, don't be intimidated. This is a classic and this is a book that demands attention, it demands all the love. The other important prominent theme of this book are the questions it raises on morality. What is the extent of suffering of someone on your account? Heathcliff's love for Catherine is an obsession. It turns into jealousy when she marries Edgar Linton, and it becomes revenge eventually. And what happens is Heathcliff's family and Catherine's family, everybody suffers in this tornado of cruelty. So is it right to do wrong to somebody because something wrong happened to you? Most importantly, is it right, is it fair to be cruel, to be mean to those who have done nothing to you? All of these questions are posed by this author. At the age of 18, she could bring up such questions in prose. I guess that was a brilliantly commendable job. Honestly, I can't bear even a single person hating this book. So all of you who hate this book, who hate Heathcliff, who hate Catherine, I want you to just sit back and think about it. Is it really worth hating them? No matter what somebody says, for me, this is always going to be a love story. Even though it's not pronounced, even though it's not prominently there, right in the face of the prose or the novel. But what Catherine and Heathcliff have for each other, it's love. No matter how far apart their decisions are, no matter how far apart their lives become, it's still love story. And it's simply for the fact that they can't be without each other. Even in pain, they feel for each other. And that's in the way Catherine says, no matter what our souls are made up of, his and mine are the same. So this is a Victorian love story for sure that goes on to become a tragedy, that goes on to become one of the most love-abhorred tales of all time. No matter what you feel, I think just going to be happy if you give this book a try and if you read it. And I would love it if you want to discuss this book with me. Just share your thoughts in the comment section below and we can have a detailed discussion at any given point of time. Better yet, next time you are going to read it, drop me a message and I will join you. For those of you who want to buy your copy, I have shared the link in the description box below. You can catch up with the review of this book on my blog, which is www.badbookthief.com. I think I'm still surprised that I did not review this book in all these years, but I think it also comes from the fact that I love this book so much that I have always felt like reviewing it right, and I won't deny the pressure you feel when you do not want to go wrong with it. This was, I felt, the right time to do it. Although I'm so tired now, I need to go and get some sleep. And believe me, even though I might not look sleepy, I so am. I am just trying to keep my eyes wide open for you. So I'm going to go and catch up with some sleep now. In the meanwhile, you can try and catch up with this book, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. That's all. You take care. I'm going to see you in my next video. Until then, be reading, be inspiring. Goodbye.